Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. So with the beta for Modern Warfare being around the corner, one of the things that I was always excited about when it comes to that game after it became revealed is the fact that we're going to have so many ways to customize weapons, and there's going to be pros and cons and all that, and you can literally, depending on the attachments that you pick for your weapon, you could literally have like the same weapon be different every single time, which really to me is one of the big things about the game, if not the biggest. It adds longevity to the game. I mean, the weapons to me personally are one of the biggest things, if not probably for me personally the biggest thing, because again, if there's not many weapons to play with or not much of a choice, it kind of limits the longevity of the game and it makes it become a little bit too repetitive. But with that being said, there's always one weapon that you gravitate towards, which is what I'm going to get to in this commentary. So now this weapon may not be the best weapon in the game. Do you guys ever have that feeling to where you seem to be the only person on the planet that can't use whatever flavor of weapon that everybody else seems to use, and basically everybody else can shred you with it, but for you it just shoots pellets. I mean, well, not pellets, but it shoots marshmallows. Even worse, Jello and marshmallows. I mean, and everybody else seems to melt you with it, and everybody else seems to be able to control it really well, and they get the recoil down, but for whatever reason, for you, it just doesn't work. And then yet there's another gun that you find yourself surprisingly gravitating towards that works for you every time. Like every time you go to it, it never lets you down. Whenever you need to put your tryhard pants on, this gun never lets you down. Some people may not know that it's top tier, or it may not even be a top tier weapon, but you use it like it's a top tier weapon simply because your muscle memory and just how everything works with the gun just goes in sync. I mean, and again, Call of Duty is very inconsistent with its connection, its hit detection, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, really, it's really inconsistent. You got packet loss in the middle of gunfights. You've got lag compensation, which my favorite game of all time, Black Ops 2, in terms of Call of Duty, as so far, is probably the worst violator in the entire series. So there's a whole lot of things that can ruin a game for you. So with that being said, I'm an AR SMG player. And for those of you guys that haven't been here long enough, I'm going to say that I started back in Black Ops 1. That's when Call of Duty slowly but surely started taking over my life in terms of what I was playing as a gamer. I used to play a lot more variety of games, but ever since then, it's been pretty much more and more Call of Duty. And then Black Ops 2 was basically when everything came full circle, and I started playing pretty much nothing but COD. And after that, it's also when I made my transition into figuring out what the hell I was doing, because you know, when you're a noob, even if you've been playing for a while, if you don't know the proper way to play and you don't know what you're doing and how things actually work as opposed to how you think they work, you know, if you keep on playing badly, it must mean that you're doing something wrong. So I didn't figure that out until sometime in the Black Ops 2 life cycle, but I'm glad I did. But with that being said, there's still plenty more to learn and plenty more that I'm discovering. And the inspiration for this video actually came from the sessions that I've been having with Infinite Warfare lately, because this gun here it's always a gun that I gravitate towards. So anyway, but let's start with Black Ops 1 and work our way up here to the most recent CODs. So here we go. In Black Ops 1, my main go-to weapon that never let me down, that I didn't use that much during its life cycle because I didn't know any better, but I found out later on, and whenever I did use it, even when I was playing badly, whenever I did use it, it was really good, and it was the AUG. I basically didn't even use SMGs back then because assault rifles were the way to go. I did figure that out, and I just liked the assault rifles, and there was a good variety of them. The Galil was the one that I used the most, but I liked plenty of assault rifles in Black Ops 1, but the AUG was the one that never really let me down every time I picked it up. I just didn't use it all that much. I don't know why, because I was told that the Galil was the best weapon in the game, or that there was no best weapon in the game. I didn't even know that the FAMAS was the best weapon in the game, or one of the best weapons in the game. But one thing that always sticks out to me even now when I play it is the AUG. The AUG is basically like a balanced FAMAS. The iron sights are good, and it's a beast, and it always treats me fairly. So the AUG is my main go-to, or actually not my main go-to, the one that never let me down, the one that I gravitated towards more than even the Galil itself. All right, moving on to the next game. I'm not going to do SMGs for Black Ops 1 because again, I didn't play with SMGs, and I know that the AK-74U is the big daddy of that game. But with that being said, I didn't use it, so I couldn't tell you. All right, let's move on to the next one, and that's Modern Warfare 3. And the Scar L takes the cake in Modern Warfare 3. Scar L was an absolute beast, whether it was suppressed or not. It was high damage. The recoil was very manageable, especially if you use a suppressor. And it was, if you had a suppressor, it was silent but deadly. The damage was high. Iron sights were solid. I mean, it was just a beautiful weapon, and it dropped really quick if you were able to if you were able to do your thing with it. So Scar L for me was the way to go, not the ACR. And for submachine guns, lo and behold, sorry to be a little predictable, but the MP7 was just too damn good. Whether it was suppressed or not, whatever attachment you put on it, the MP7 was really good. You can map people with that gun. You could be silent and deadly with that gun. I mean, that gun basically had no recoil, and it was a submachine gun. And it was a beautiful thing. And to me, personally speaking, it wasn't overpowered. It was just that gun could do what an assault rifle could do, and therefore many people used it, and the iron sights were good, and you can map people, and it required more bullets than an assault rifle to kill, especially at distance. But again, every single other attribute, especially with rapid fire, basically made the gun the go-to gun of choice for both professional players and pub players alike. So MP7, baby, all the way. All right, Black Ops 2, Type 25. Now in Black Ops 2, the Type 25 in the beginning of the life cycle was very weak. They actually had to buff it. And after they buffed it, it became viable, but it still wasn't used as much as some of the other assault rifles, right? So, but the thing was that by default, the Type 25 was actually the fastest firing assault rifle in its class. So, against SMGs, which especially in the very beginning of its life cycle, Black Ops 2 was very SMG dominant in terms of the way the maps were built and everything else and the way the guns worked. I personally think that assault rifles were extremely beastly as well, but in the beginning of the life cycle, everybody was basically gravitating towards SMGs, and I certainly understand why, and I agree. It wasn't until later on to where people started realizing that, hey, assault rifles were valuable as well. And it wasn't until later on until people started using them more. But SMGs were the main thing that people were using, especially in the beginning of the life cycle. And the Type 25 was the only gun, because of its fast firing rate, that could actually stand a chance at a close to medium distance against SMGs. Now, granted, it wouldn't be the end-all be-all solution, but if you were an assault rifle user, the Type 25 was the way to go. And especially after they buffed it, if you had the skill to stay on target and to and if you liked the iron sights, some people did, some people didn't. I absolutely love them. If you were able to do so, the Type 25 was definitely a good baby to use, especially with fast mags. If you put fast mags on that thing, it's like having sleight of hand. But anyway, let's move on. Oh, SMGs, yes. The MP7 again takes the cake on this one. I really like the MP7 in Black Ops 2. It's like a balanced Modern Warfare 3 MP7. They gave it some recoil, but if you were able to if you had good aim, you'd be able to use it and do damage with it immensely. And it was good with a suppressor. It was good without a suppressor. It was just a beast of a gun. And it was basically one of those weapons that was good in so many different ways. Granted, you had the skill to use it properly. And for me personally, I liked it. I mean, I like the Scorpion. I almost picked the Scorpion for this one, but when it was during its life cycle and even slightly after that, I was gravitating towards the MP7 more. I actually liked the Vector as well, but it was a little too weak. But the MP7, again, it was really good. It wasn't the strongest, but it certainly wasn't the weakest. But for me, it always worked very, very well. And I loved its iron sights, and it just never treated me wrong. Simple as that. All right, moving on. We have Ghosts. The FAD was the assault rifle that never let me down. It ended up becoming my main assault rifle next to the Honey Badger because it was good against SMGs as well because of its fast firing rate. The iron sights were terrific. I absolutely loved them. And Ghost had a fast time to kill. So put that together with the fast firing rate, the gun was an absolute tank. Even though each bullet wasn't as powerful as, like, let's say the Remington R5 in that game, which was the most powerful one, it still melted really quick, especially if you were close to medium range. God help you if you're on the other end of somebody that could use that gun. That gun was absolutely terrific and very, very underrated, whether it was suppressed or not. And for SMGs, I actually didn't really use that many SMGs, and I do know that the Vector was good, and I know that the MTAR was good. The iron sights on the MTAR was just not good for me, especially like that big hunk of metal on the left or right side of the gun, which kept on distracting me. So for me personally, I didn't really use that many SMGs in Ghosts, so I couldn't really tell you. All right, moving on. After Ghosts, we have the HBAR or the HBR, specifically the Insanity, obviously. The Insanity for me never ever let me down. When I started becoming good at Advanced Warfare, when I went through, because Advanced Warfare, unless you played Claw, it was really, really hard to jump shot in that game. So after I got my Elite Controller during the Black Ops 3 life cycle, I went back and I played Advanced Warfare, went through a transition, and I was smoking people. And the HBR was the gun of choice. When everybody was going all sweaty, try hard, and using the Obsidian Steed, I went and put my my HBR on, and yeah, she never let me down. Whether she was suppressed or not, grip or not, she never ever let me down. And of course, the ASM-1 was my SMG of choice in that game. Really good iron sights. They kind of remind me of the MP7 iron sights, but slightly different, but it was really good. And if you got good aim with that gun, I mean, it's almost like an assault rifle at this point. So, but yeah, ASM-1, you can't go wrong with that SMG in Advanced Warfare. Moving on to Black Ops 3, my main assault rifle during the life cycle, believe it or not, was the Man of War. I always like the guns that I don't have to, I don't like burst fire weapons all that much. This one is a burst fire weapon here that you're seeing in the gameplay, but you can hold down the trigger and it'll still fire. It'll fire very fast, specifically this variant. But so the M8 was never really the viable one for me. It was always the Man of War. I liked it. I liked the can as well, but the Man of War was my go-to gun. It was my favorite gun in Black Ops 3, and it really never did let me down, especially if you put rapid fire on that beast. And for SMGs in Black Ops 3, at first it was the VMP, but after the life cycle, I gave the COD a shot, and I started playing with the COD, and I prefer the COD over any other weapon. Right now, I have to say over assault rifles as well. So right now, if you ever catch me on Black Ops 3, the COD is my baby. With or without rapid fire, with or without grip, suppressed or not suppressed, the COD is my baby. I absolutely love it. It's an absolute, believe it or not, jack of all trades weapon, because if you have the aim to do so and the consistency, and the iron sights are solid as well, that gun will operate pretty much like an assault rifle as well. And it's an SMG, so it does pretty good work up close. It's not as good as the VMP or a couple of the others up close, but it's still solid. So the COD is my go-to. And after Black Ops 3, what do we have after that? Infinite Warfare, we got this baby here, the RVN. This one has always been working really good for me. And then the Karma was my go-to SMG in this game. The Karma is my baby. And moving on to what came after that? World War II. The STG was my assault rifle of choice, believe it or not, over the bar. I know in the beginning of the life cycle, the bar was absolutely stupid, but the STG, I always really liked that. I always really like fast fire. In case you guys haven't noticed, I really dig fast firing assault rifles. So, yeah, the bar was really good. And then I didn't get used to the PPSH until later on. But before the PPSH, and even in more recent gameplay that I posted recently, the Type 100 was really solid. You know, it's never really treated me wrong, honestly. It was really consistent. So I like that gun as well. But the PPSH is up there as well. And what came after World War II? Oh yeah, Black Ops 4. The KN with rapid fire never ever treated me wrong. I went with that one. And for SMGs, you know what? As of right now, I have to actually give it to the Cordite. With or without rapid fire, it doesn't matter. And actually, I've been gravitating towards it without rapid fire. I'd probably say the Cordite is ultimately an all-purpose weapon for me in that game. But the KN was the assault rifle that I really liked. At first, I liked the Maddox, but then after they nerfed its strafe speed, I said, fuck that, and I went with the KN. But anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you think, what your guns are, the ones that you specifically gravitated towards that worked for you, especially if they weren't the best weapon in the game. You know, or it could be that one other weapon that you could rely on besides the best weapon in the game for any Call of Duty that you want. Let it be known down in the comment section. I'm actually really curious. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.